this video, you'll watch a series of interviews with students learning English who have different first language backgrounds. Research has very clearly established that a student's first language background can impact or does significantly impact his or her ability to learn English or another language for that matter. So depending upon the first language, it might be easier for a student to learn a particular aspect of English or more difficult. So as you watch the interviews of each of these students, listen for what they say, first of all, about their challenges with learning English, but also listen for how their first language might be impacting their English language use. So listen for their pronunciation, their use of vocabulary, their use of grammar, and their discourse patterns, and see if you can tie that back to what they're saying about the differences or similarities between their first language and the English language.
I would say that the similarities between Spanish and English would be the alphabet, for example, the grammatical structure and sentences or questions, and some words that are similar because they have some Latin roots as well. I think the thing that I find most different is the pronunciation. In Spanish, what you have in front of you is like any letter or any combination of letters is going to sound the same all the time. And in English, it changes according of which letter goes after another letter and so on. I would say that we have a lot of rules in the Spanish language as well. When it comes, for example, to verbs, and everything changes, and we have male and female characterizations. So that also changes everything, and there are rules for that. So I think both languages have a fair amount of rules. When I was learning English for the first time, it was back in my country, in Peru, and learning English was interesting because I got to learn about the culture for example, the way the books were made. In this case, the books came from the States, so I learned all about people going to the parks and lakes and appreciation for the mountains and all of that. Sports, for example, football, and so those things kind of made me think and made me want to learn more about that, the culture of that. In this case, North America, could be the States or Canada. I always found challenging to try to speak English without an accent. I still find it very challenging. I tried so many times and for so many years trying to, I tried to improve my pronunciation. And when I thought I was getting somewhere, sometimes at some point I realized that I still have a very strong accent. So I guess I'll never be able to speak English without an accent.
I think English is kind of a mixture between German and Latin languages. So it has some words which are very similar, especially sophisticated words because they are Latin based. But English is a bit easier because it has less, I don't know, it's just a bit easier for me. I think a lot different are like the causes. In German we have a lot of different forms and for example conjugated verbs, which is in English quite easy because you only have the third person singular as. Yeah, I think it's a lot easier to learn English than to learn German. I really enjoy the language. Sometimes I even think in English because I just like the way of expressing myself in English rather than expressing myself in German. Yeah. Um, Actually, I have a feeling. I have the feeling that I'm already at a quite high level, and that's why I don't find it very challenging anymore. I really liked English from the beginning on, so I never really had problems learning it. I really like watching series in English and movies and read books in English in the original language. So I just enjoyed it. Yeah.
So I find that many words in English words are very similar to Italian words. So some of the vocabulary is easy to understand and to learn, and there are some, of course, there are some differences, but they're very achievable. And so, yeah. Probably the sentence structure, because Italian sentences are based on a Latin form, whereas English are more archaic, and so it is maybe the most difficult thing is, yeah, trying to understand what is the exact sentence form. I enjoy English because it's very strict language and very concise and short sentences, and I just love the language, the sound of it. It's very, I don't know, very polite, very, let's say, you can use it for work and it looks so professional. Well, of course, trying to have a very good English is a good challenge because you can easily, or not easily, but try to have a standard level of English. But trying to have a very good English is very difficult to have a correct and just forbidden use of English. Actually, my first language is Korean. I think there's no similarity between Korean and English because we use totally different character, totally different letters and pronunciation. Everything is different. Most different thing is, I think it could be pronunciation because like letters are different in every country, so I don't want to say about letters or character. I just want to say about pronunciation because there's no V pronunciation and there's only B, and there's no F but there's only P. Or like those all kind of things make me feel hard when I start studying English at first. I can make many friends from another countries like Saudi Arabia, Swiss, and others. Brazil, every country we learn English all together and we can communicate in English, even though we have totally different cultures and totally different appearance or everything is different in the most challenging thing for me on English is about pronunciation. That grammar or vocabulary can be better if I study hard by myself. But in case of pronunciation, it's a bit hard for me to study by myself. So I must I must speak a lot and I must watch video or drama about not about but in English. So I know that's the only way I can improve my pronunciation. So that's the most challenging thing in English for me.
My first language is Chinese, so I think the similar thing is they have a lot of vocabulary for me. That's the only one thing I can think is similar. The difference is the grammar is completely different, and the Chinese just like the vocabulary just like a picture, but the English vocabulary just like uh, uh, a single letter. I enjoy it, like I will imagine if I know English well, I can go to the other country, the people speak English, so I can go by myself. I don't need to go with a team or my family group and need to find a translator. The challenging is I need to remember a lot of verb, and the grammar is make me confused. That's it.
Yeah, I think Japanese and English, they don't have similarities between them. The first things what I thought to learn English is pronouns and grammar. Grammar is totally different. It's almost opposite. So it's hard. And when I came here, like my pronouns was really bad. So no one understand. No one understood my English. So, but now it's better than before. But like especially the Asian people have a hard time to pronounce in English. Now I can speak English, not very well, but so now I can communicate with many people, so many people, because most of people, not most, but many people speak English nowadays. So when I started to learn English, I I got like huge view. Like, I could speak with another people, so many people, even not American or Canadian, like Arabic, Korean, Chinese. So I enjoy a lot about it. It depends on where you study, I think. But in here, like London, there are few Japanese, but almost zero. And in this school, now we have three Japanese, but there was just me. So, and when I came here, I couldn't speak anything. So I had to speak English, no Japanese. So that was so hard. Yeah, but it's good also because I learned English in English. So my English is improved quickly, I think.
Well, my first language is Arabic and English. And it's quite difficult to have some similarities between them because uh, English is, as you know, is coming from Latin. The difference is the vocabularies, the meanings, the whole language itself. I like to communicate with people around because uh, in Saudi Arabia and Middle East we do speak in Arabic all the time. We don't see often some Japanese people or Chinese people or even Canadian in our country. So it's good to have to communicate and have cultures and know about these cultures. Um, Vocabularies and know a little bit of pronunciation. Yeah, I think that this is the most challenging thing what's happening. Okay.
similar, like some words are really similar, but pronunciation is different. Some words like the spelling is the same, but the pronunciation is different. I think that's it. The most difference between English and Portuguese is pronunciation and the grammar. Like some words are really different, but the order that they appear in the phrase is different, like the opposite. That's it. Like for me, this is really useful studying English because as I want to take my master in grad school, English is the language that I will be using for like publication and to read papers and produce. That's most useful for English. Speaking, pronunciation. Like before I came here, I thought there was like listen and understand. Now I can understand, but like speak is even hard.